All right. Good morning, everyone. I am joined here this morning by Councilman Mark Conway, Commissioner Harrison, Director Jackson from Muncie, Mark Washington, the Executive Director of Coldstream-Homestead-Montebello Community Corporation, and Graham Campbell, Director of BPD's Data-Driven Strategies Division. We are gathered here today to announce yet another crucial step and a long-awaited step of our police department in our city that we are taking towards reimagining the way we approach law enforcement and public safety in partnership with our communities. It is no secret that police redistricting in Baltimore has been long overdue. As some of you may know, BPD's 9 district boundaries have not been redrawn in decades in any significant form, 1959 to be exact, which is the year that my father was born. And our city is not the same place that it was then when those boundaries were drawn. Population, workload, crime trends, even individual neighborhoods have changed dramatically over those past decades. And this is a mission, quite frankly, Mr. Councilman, that has been specifically a mission for every single elected representative that has represented the Northeast District for most of my lifetime. So it started with Councilman Bobby Karen, Councilman Martin O'Malley, Councilman Ken Harris, Councilman Bill Henry, then passed on down to me to make sure that we get police redistricting in Baltimore so that each of the 9 districts have the resources that they need, but also that they are drawn in the way that represents the city of Baltimore today, not of days that are long behind us. This is why, as a representative of the council, I work with my senator, Senator Corey McCray, to ensure that we were changing our districts regularly to account for the constantly evolving city. And as your mayor, I am excited to announce that that work has now begun. Our current districts fail to efficiently and adequately distribute police resources, and our residents have not asked but demanded that we make these changes to put our officers where they are needed most and to allow their district to respond in a more efficient fashion. That is why we are now going to the public to seek their feedback on the current district layout so that as we go through this process of redrawing the new districts, we can optimize police response time and facilitate better engagement between law enforcement and our communities, because those are the things that are going to help to make Baltimore a safer place. This method of redistricting will allow us to modernize our policing and transform BPD into a world-class law enforcement agency with, not for our residents, considering population growth, considering violent crimes and calls for service, considering boundaries and neighborhood boundaries and hard boundaries like waters and parks, all of the things that we should be doing to make sure that these districts are representative of what Baltimore is today. I am so excited to finally get this process underway. We look forward to working with our communities as we go through the redistricting process. And now I'll turn it over to Commissioner Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning to all of you. Thank you for being here today. Redrawing the geographic boundaries of the Baltimore Police Department's 9 districts will move our department forward and smarter into the 21st century. The intent of our redistricting plan is to keep neighborhoods together, manage the crime more effectively in each of the geographical areas, create better alignment for the crime reduction strategy, optimize resource allocation for smarter policing, and provide officer workload balance. Instituting this public input before and after the new maps are determined allows residents to be a part of this important process. The department will also use data related to calls for service, crime trends, high violence areas, workload assessments, and population changes to determine the new boundaries and reallocate resources and personnel as appropriate. Redistricting will enable us to efficiently manage law enforcement resources and then provide the appropriate resources to the districts, respond to crime faster and more efficiently, create a better balance between calls for service in geographic areas, maintain constant presence in high-crime areas, increase patrols and interactions with neighborhood organizations, save money, and then provide a greater sense of safety for our residents. Our department is looking to engage with our residents in gathering their vital feedback to guide us in redrawing our antiquated district lines. Residents can now go to BPD's website and follow the link to submit your online feedback today. So thank you, and at this time, I'll turn it back over to our mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Now we will hear from Councilman Mark Conway, who is the chair of the City Council's Public Safety and Government Operations Committee. Mr. Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. Excited to have an opportunity here today to talk about this a very important endeavor, realizing that we take a lot of time working with our police department, making sure that they're being efficient and effective. We know that our districts have been an issue in the past, and we want to make sure that we get all the proper feedback from the community and otherwise to make sure that we get this right. Our police districts are important with regards to resources, but then also with regards to strategy. Too often I've seen instances where police districts border a line that no longer makes any sense. When these districts were drafted over 50 years ago, the folks who drafted it could not have imagined the changes that our city has gone through in that time. Today we have that opportunity to update it. So I want to thank the mayor, I want to thank our commissioner for the effort today, and I want to encourage folks as we go through this process to provide all the feedback and insight possible to make sure that we get this right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman. And last but certainly not least, we will hear from Mark Washington, one of the key voices for many, many, many years on redistricting from Coldstream-Homestead-Montebello. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you to the team of Baltimore City Police Department. As the mayor said, we've been asking for this action for quite some time. For over half a century, this needed realignment and redistricting is something that we believe as a community has impacted the delivery of public safety in our community. Realigning the police district should, in our opinion, make it more efficient, effective, and responsible to the citizens of Baltimore. In turn, what we should see is a better and improved public safety environment for us all. So I thank the mayor greatly and his team for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And with that, we will take questions. I think, I believe they have a mic set up back there. Yep, sorry about that.
You guys moved it on us. I was just going to ask, are there any preliminary plans as far as the number of districts? Do you know yet whether they're going to shrink or expand? And how will that impact the existing district buildings?
Yep, I'll just start and then turn to the commissioner. I will say that we are going into this with open, looking at and analyzing the data in an appropriate way and letting the data drive us to what has to happen. But I'll let the commissioner go into the specifics. Sir?
Thank you. Once again, like the mayor said, we're going to let the data drive us in all of our decisions. At this time, before data, we're looking at obviously boundaries and district size, district staffing. Doesn't necessarily equate to the district station moving or a collapse or consolidation of stations. Should data tell us that, we will take that under advisement.
Alexa?
Hi.
It's on.
It's on. Crime-related question. Since Monday, we've had 8 people shot, 3 homicides. What are you all doing to get this under control?
Alexa, I'll say this. You know what we're doing. We're going after these people and bringing these folks to justice consistently. Working with our community partners, as you know, one of these incidents that happened on the 4th, that person was arrested by BPD that same day. We're going to continue to go after folks who are committing violence, making sure that our police officers are where they need to be, making sure they continue to get guns off the streets and turn folks over to the other parts of the justice system. The same thing for our violence prevention workers in Safe Streets and other community organizations to make sure that we're having the impact that we can have about people's personal decisions to commit violence.
And
Sarah, you want to add anything?
Well, I think the mayor covered it, but I will echo that. We're doing all that we can do, and we will always work to do more. But you must remember, these are other people's decisions to commit these bad acts. But when they commit these bad acts, we are catching them, and we are arresting them, and we are putting them in jail to hold them accountable. We will continue to do that. The officers are performing, detectives are both performing better now than ever before. Clearance rates are much higher, apprehension rates are much higher, and community members are providing way more information now than ever before, which is allowing us to have this level of success. What we need is for people to take control of, know where their kids are at night. We need people to help us help them make better life decisions.
That leads me, I mean, we've had a number of crimes involving young people, the homicide in Fells Point 16, the carjacking of the officer 16, and then the 12 and 13-year-old charged with the car theft. I know you spoke Monday about those initiatives to try to target young people with the deployments, but what else can be done?
I think, Alexa, what else can be done is that, first and foremost, we need people to be responsible for their children. Let's start there. We're going to do all that we can. We're going to be doing programming throughout the summer to provide positive, safe opportunities for young people to have fun as they want to do in the summertime, as you and I did when we were growing up in the summertime. But we also need to have levels of responsibility in the community as well. 16-year-olds shouldn't be out at Fells Point at that hours of night alone, right? 12-year-olds shouldn't be out doing the things that we have to do. We have to have community checks of that kind of activity as well, starting with family, friends, people that know these young people. This is not solely going to be a law enforcement action, right? We have to have opportunity, but also, again, consequences and responsibility from all levels of our community. Mr. Commissioner?
Much of what you see are social issues that have broken down over the years, and what you're seeing is a manifestation of that. And I think that question really has to be directed at the parents of those children who are committing those acts, or who committed those acts. And why did that happen? And how did they get to that point in their lives? We're making sure our police department is a world-class police department. You're seeing that by evidence of us being smart about redistricting and how we create workload balance and efficiency, effectiveness in law enforcement. Much of what you're seeing has absolutely nothing to do with policing.
And anything you can tell us about the triple shooting? Anything additional you can tell us about the triple shooting?
Well, yeah, we're investigating. It's an ongoing investigation. We are working to find evidence. What we need is for people who would have seen or heard something to call us right away, or to do it anonymously by calling Crime Stoppers at 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. Detectives are on the ground following up on leads as we speak.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.